All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the DenofTruth. It's your boy Tina, and we got the homie Yibby with me. Yibby, what's up? How you doing?
So man, I'm good. Happy to be here, bro.
You good? You good?
Yeah, man.
Man, I just heard the EP. It's fire.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Look, tell us a little bit about the EP and just a little bit about the process because it's a good EP, man.
Thanks, man. It was a little process, like just working on beats with my guys, Clockwork Odyssey, over the past couple years, and then just like writing it and just trying to get it to happen, put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long altogether did it really take you to get this project going?
Bro, wow, like I probably started like early 2017, but it sort of just kept chopping and changing. Like I had a few more songs there, and then I wasn't happy with them, and then like I probably re-recorded every song like 3 times, sort of thing.
Are you serious?
Yeah, bro.
Damn. So what do you think? Do you reckon that's just you overthinking your creativity, or was it just like different experiences in your life, and then you wanted to change the song? Or
A bit of both, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
yeah,
yeah, just trying to like get things right, and like me not being happy with certain stuff, but then also like being exposed to a lot of different things as well, and yeah, just feeling differently about certain songs.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Damn. All right. So what influenced you? Because when I listen to it, so this is just my opinion. So when I listen to it, I listen to it obviously from track. I listen to the sort of top down, and I listen to the bottom up, and I got a really good vibe. I got a sort of like a very conscious sort of vibe, sort of like someone who sort of, I guess, tracking his sort of development. You know what I mean? Someone who's sort of growing with his music. Someone who's sort of sharing their story with them track by track. So I really appreciated sort of the honesty within the tracks. Cause there was some low key a lot of Australian terminology in there, and I caught that. Yeah, you know what I mean. I caught that. You know what I mean. So I really like that sort of consciousness, and someone who not only loves rap music but appreciates the Australian culture.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, I try to keep it honest where I can, like, as much as I can, and yeah, like I think for that project, it was very much me sort of introducing myself to people that don't really know who I am. So I had to keep it honest, and yeah, just let people know about me. But I think, I mean, it's a challenge for like Australian artists to sort of like intertwine our culture in there and sort of push it a little bit, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean there was a really bad stigma to Australian music
yeah,
because that backpack Australian sort of accent. It didn't really stick with a lot of people.
yeah.
That sort of like cursor sound, that very like, but I would say like bogan sound. You know what I mean? And I think now what's been really cool is that a lot of artists have been able to sort of incorporate that Australian culture within the music, and that's why I appreciate it with your music because I thought it was very authentic. You weren't trying to get into anyone else's lane. This is your lane, and you're really growing on it.
Yeah, I think we're sort of creating our own sort of distinct like Australian sound with like influences from all over the place. Creating our own distinct Australian sound with a lot of influences from all over the place.
Yeah.
Whether that be the UK, America, like everywhere, and just sort of channeling our own energy and bringing that to that. But I mean, myself, like I was a fan of cursor and stuff back in the day. So I mean, try and keep those Australian references in there. Like I just find it fun. Like I enjoy that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. So what influenced you in this album? What were your sort of biggest influences?
There's a lot, man. Like I was listening to everything, and I think my producers like they have their own influences as well. Like they're one of my guys is listening to a lot of like rock sort of music and stuff influenced by yeah, like a bit of like alternative stuff, and like for me rap wise, like I try not to think about certain artists. I sort of like try and do my own thing, but like a lot of like to be honest, the past couple years I've been listening to a lot of UK rap, but yeah, just everything, man. Just try and keep it diverse. But I think also my producers introduced me. Like I was always a fan of Kanye.
Yeah.
I was listening to a lot of Kanye in terms of like coming from a personal perspective,
Yeah.
and saying stuff and sort of making yourself as like the character to tell a lot of different stories.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do that a bit, but yeah, just everything.
Nah. I definitely saw the different storytelling, and that's what I like about your music. It's sort of like I get that storytelling vibe. Someone actually knows how to rap. There's a difference, you know what I mean? There's a difference between someone who sort of lets the beat. This is how I feel as a fan. Someone who lets the beat sort of just dictate everything. And I guess it is important because the beat obviously
Yeah.
It's a big part of the song, but someone who can actually totally take you into the story. It's not just, bullshit the whole time. There's actually some consciousness and thought around it.
I appreciate that, bro. I try. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the songwriting part is like really enjoyable for myself. So
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time trying to work things out and just reading over everything and just chopping and changing and trying like get the most value for get the most bang for my buck in terms of like what I'm saying, but just have fun. Like, I enjoy it. I find it fun to do. So, I mean,
so where did you grow up in Sydney?
Cronulla, like.
And that's extremely different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's right, because I grew up in Western Sydney, so I've had a lot of like, it's extremely multicultural.
Yeah.
So how was it growing up in Cronulla? And was there any weird things happening around there?
I mean, like 05, there was like race. I think it was 05.
Yeah, the Cronulla riots. Yeah, the Cronulla riots. Yeah.
05, I was pretty young back then, but like, I mean, it's a bit of everything. Like it's still multicultural in Cronulla, but I mean, it's pretty Anglo-Saxon there. So like, there wasn't too many African guys out there, man. Yeah. So like, I wasn't that exposed, but I mean, I got a lot of friends from the West and stuff like that. So
I mean,
like you still out in the past few years, like I've been coming to city a lot, like for music and just meeting people and doing all that sort of stuff. And like, I was born in Ethiopia, man. So.
Oh really? You were born in Ethiopia?
I was born there.
So when did you come to Australia?
Came here when I was 2.5. 2.5. Like, I've been here for a while, but I've been back there and stuff. I got family there, so I mean,
And how do you think your sort of background, being Ethiopian and coming to Australia as an immigrant, has affected your music?
I mean, it's just a story to tell, bro. I mean, I sort of personally like I like reflect on that a lot. So I feel like it has a lot to do with my story and my perspective. Like, I feel like even just the concept for Lost in Translation, that was a lot to do with me being from somewhere else and coming here and then sort of like trying to find my place, But yeah, I mean, just having that sort of different perspective from that. Yeah.
From your background, I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Ethiopia is a really interesting place, man. Like, I like Ethiopia, especially when you look at Africa as a continent, you look at all the different types of Africans, where you got North, South, West, East, and then when you look at Ethiopians, you can tell that they have a very rich culture. You can track them. Some of the oldest, some of the oldest, civilizations in human history. So I always appreciate
Lucy, bro.
Yeah. I always appreciate my Ethiopian brothers, man. I feel like they bring some sort of wisdom, some sort of ancientness to the situation.
Ooh, we try.
Yeah. So when was the last time you went back?
I was 7.
And how was it? How was Ethiopia like for someone who's never been there?
It's cool, bro. Like, the people are really sick. The food's really nice.
Those with the food.
A lot of coffee, bro. You find yourself drinking a lot of coffee if you go to Ethiopia. But yeah, man, it's cool. Like, I love going back there when I get the chance, seeing family and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunity out here. So yeah.
So coming from Ethiopia, so you came to Ethiopia when you were 2, right? And you moved and you went straight to Cronulla. Were you living out there?
We were in Newcastle for a bit.
Me too. When I came to Australia, I'm not sure if that's what they were doing with immigrants. I lived in Newcastle. Yeah.
Well, like, I'm not really an immigrant. Like, I'm adopted. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So I came here and we were in Newcastle for a little bit, and then we came to Sydney. But we've been there for like ages now.
Damn, Cronulla, man.
Yeah, bro.
Nah, because every time I think about Cronulla, man, I'm just thinking about like the Cronulla riots. Because I'm from Western Sydney.
Yeah.
So I grew up with like a bunch of like Middle Eastern guys.
Yeah.
So when that shit came on the news, it was live. Everyone was like, what's happening?
People had like baseball bats and shit at their doors and whatnot.
Was it for real? Because I already saw it from a West perspective, but you actually saw it from someone that was in there.
Yeah, I just remember being like a little kid and just like parents sort of had like a golf club like by the door and stuff. It wasn't that crazy, I don't think, but it was still like being black as well, you're just a bit like, oh shit.
You gotta keep your hands out, man.
I'm not trying to do anything too crazy at the moment.
So coming to Newcastle and going over to Cronulla, what was sort of your early introductions to music? What sort of influenced your music?
Earliest memories was like Rage, bro.
Yeah, Rage? Okay, now you definitely like, you throwing it back.
Yeah, bro.
That's some Australian shit. If you know what Rage is, you're definitely Australian.
That's why, like, when I got on Rage the first time and stuff, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Because, me and my sister, we get up at, like, it was on at, like, 6 in the morning.
6, 7.
And, we just, like, we had this little sort of, like Cubby Room or something, like, and we just go like watch Rage for like hours every Saturday morning. And that was sort of the first time, and like I didn't know many African people, I didn't know many black people at that time. So
Yeah, most
I was
definitely.
watching Rage and seeing like Kanye and Pharrell and shit, and I was
It's
like,
crazy.
damn, yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is cool. So
Yeah.
I mean, back then, yeah.
But going on to your set, like I don't blame you because like you came in when you were 2.5. I came when I was 5.
Exactly.
And I still remember like for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Like I remember I went to school in Cabramatta and that's all Asian.
Yeah.
Me and my sister were the first black people in that school.
Yeah.
100%. Now I see little black kids coming out every time. Like sometimes I'll go past it, but I know what it feels like to obviously being like the only African in a particular area for a long period of time.
Yeah, like you know, bro.
It's a good thing, it's a bad thing.
There was a few people, but it wasn't like every, like it was like very rare, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't seen as much.
Yeah.
So which sort of artists and who influences you?
Like a lot of like Up Future and stuff, I must say.
Yeah.
Like Pro Era, like
Pro
Capital Steez, bro. Like I was listening to a lot of him when he was like still making music, and yeah, like Joey and like TDE, a lot of different people though, like a lot of Stevie Wonder as well. Yeah, just everything.
So you sort of just like sort of a mixed bag. So which Australian artist inspires you now? Like what are you liking from the city?
What am I liking from Sydney?
Yeah, right now.
I don't know, man. There's like a lot of good artists in Sydney. I feel like what would I say? I mean, Manu's like an obvious one just because he's sort of like pushing the boundaries of like getting overseas and stuff. So I have to say, like, and I was listening to his project like 2 days ago or whatever, and I was just like, this is tight, bro. Like, he's doing his thing. But yeah, man, like I like the Bodega guys, the guys over there, like the people from my area and stuff doing that thing. Who else, man? Like there's a lot of people,
there's a
bro.
lot right now in Sydney.
Yeah.
And what I like about Sydney right now, there's a lot of there's different sort of people producing music at different times. Like you got someone like you, obviously producing. I think I call it. I'm sure you call it. I call it conscious rap. You know what I mean? Like I would listen to your music and like when I'm trying to get in the zone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then like you said, you got Manu, which B-Wise, these guys break down props, but also they can make versatile tracks. Then you got Solo, like you know, cats coming out of Blacktown.
Oh yeah, like the B-Town boys, that's cool,
yeah.
bro. And like even like the Western Sydney guys, like like them other guys over there doing that thing as well. Yeah.
I think Western Sydney right now has the crown. Look, when it comes to like the whole, I gotta say, look, when it comes to
they're making a lot of noise and they're getting a lot of numbers.
Yeah. Because we got like what? There's like Hooligan Hef. 1-4.
Yeah.
I think, and then we got B-Wise, and then we got all the black young. We got the crowd, man. I'm sorry.
A little bit, bro.
Because Sunland, the South is gonna you gotta step your game out.
Yeah, I know, bro.
But I think I'll say it's just.
I mean, like what I like is as well, like just Sydney as a whole, like pushing together sort of thing. Like regardless of where we're coming from, as well. Like just doing everything and like putting it under the Sydney title as well is tight. So,
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
If one eats, we all eat, you know?
Saying, like, it doesn't really matter where you're from, but like you said, I think it's just really good right now that we're seeing a lot of inspiring people to sort of come together. Yeah. But, you know, I'm hoping it pops up soon because I see the talent, you know what I mean? But I think one of my friends, Franco, he said that, you know, he's a really good example when he was comparing it to the UK scene. Where the UK scene, a lot of people don't realize it's been there for a long period of time. It took them a long period of time to get to the place where they are now. And then now they sort of have the infrastructure. They got clubs, promoters, you know, then they have managers, they have different labels, larger labels, a radio company. So it's taken them a long time to sort of establish that. But now that they're there, it's like, you know, you go to some clubs and they're not playing American hip hop. They're playing grime or like Afro beats. And that's weird to me because I remember for a period of like 2-3 years, every club just American. Yeah, that's what lame, lame old tracks. So it's good to see that, you know, that sort of switch up.
Definitely. Like imagine going out here and just like all Australian music, it'll be tight.
I mean, I reckon that's gonna happen soon.
Yeah.
I think people are
they're catching on.
Yeah, people are catching the wave. Like people are. I think also it's to do with like the quantity. Like how many artists there are, how many people are producing music at this time. And I think a lot of people are like starting to put out music, which is really cool. And you can really see different stories and different, you know, wherever you're from, you know, you can see that. Because Sydney is great because it's so multicultural.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like growing up, like how many races did you like go to school with?
Yeah.
How many like religions, super multicultural. So everyone's got like a story to tell, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So I want to talk about a couple of tracks. So I want to talk about 180
Yeah.
and Talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so break down 180 for me and sort of what was the sort of message you were trying to get off 180? Because those are my two favorite tracks in the joint.
Tight. 180 was just so like 180 is just like when something switches up.
Yeah,
And like it was legit, like it was just about a situation in your life sort of just backfiring, and then like where do you go from that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of the lyrics were also a bit about like a lot of it was like character stuff, like about myself and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what that was about. And then like the process was just I had this song and then I tried to do the hook and I was like, nah, that sounds bad.
So you're like that's not it.
Yeah. So then I don't even like remember. I just knew Chanel from around and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I just saw her song pop up somewhere on Instagram and I was like, all right, like come into the studio, let's work on it, and then we just did that.
So is that your process? Do you like to sort of I know you talked a little bit about storytelling. So
Yeah.
do you sort of imagine yourself and get in the zone and just sort of imagine yourself as a character and then sort of build the song around it?
Yeah, to an extent. Like I sort of get an idea for a song, and then I'll just track it out and like see what I need to do to like bring it to life a bit. Like I'll write out a verse maybe, and then like try and work the rest of it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I knew Chanel's voice and like I knew her texture and whatnot and like what she could sort of bring to it. And it was a quirky song. It was quirky production.
Yeah.
So I needed something that would match that.
Quirky, yeah. No, I like it. It's definitely something that I feel like that's the radio track, man. Like, most definitely, like I definitely feel like that's something that I would be listening to on the way to work.
That's tight, bro.
Because I listen to like there's particular songs I listen to on the way to work. That's definitely on the playlist.
That's tight, man.
Because I like, for me personally, I just as a fan, I like music that sort of you remember it based on the story. So you know what I mean? Like you always remember. Like for me, I like Kendrick because Good Kid, Mad City. I remember it based on a time in my life. So I remember the songs based on like stories in a time in my life. Every song I can sort of imagine a story in my life. So on that sort of vibe, I'm not comparing it to any artist, but I get that sort of vibe. Like this guy's trying to create a memory, trying to create a story.
That's cool, bro. Like it's wild that people thought that was like something that could be like obtainable for the radio too, because that whole project I never thought like it would be anything that was like easily digested, like not in the terms of like it's too deep or anything like that. I just didn't have that in my mind. It was just like I felt like this is just what I wanted to make. There was no sort of afterthought of like, oh, like I want to make this and I want to put it on the radio. Like it was just I'm just gonna make it for the sake of making it.
Yeah. So talk about Talk.
Yeah, Talk was sort of like that was more of a song that came about in like. It was sort of like a post recognition of like what this song's about. Like I had this song.
Explain that. That's some artist. You went straight over my head. That's some.
Sorry.
Yeah, you want some artistry. Now checking. Like talk about that with me.
Like some shit you like make it and then you won't realize why you made it until after the product's sort of done.
Yeah. So
like I sort of made this song, had this song, and I was like, all right, what is this song? So then I was like, all right, this shit like it's about talk. It's about like self talk. It's about a lot of different talk. So I think what I ended up making it about was like yourself and like what you're saying and whether that shit's legit or whether that shit's some like fake stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Straight up fake.
Exactly. And then I sort of in the verses was just talking a lot about different circumstances where things are not as they seem or like not as authentic as they should be.
Yeah, most definitely. But I think going with what you said, I don't think. One thing I like about I got the vibe from you that you're not trying to make radio music, but definitely that song, especially 180, I definitely think that's a radio.
That's tired, bro.
Do you think it's weird when people talk to you about your songs and they sort of have a perspective of it? Like, do you feel like what you were trying to do is what I sort of what I get from it?
I mean, I don't think it's weird. I appreciate it because like anyone taking the time to consider it is sick, but it's just I wasn't so much thinking like. This is what I want someone else to feel about it. Like I was just making it for the sake of making it. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool, bro.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's cool. People appreciate you, man. Don't worry.
That's tight.
I think it's cool. Like I think what's cool about being an artist is that you never really know the reach of your influence.
Exactly.
Like you know what I mean? Like you're dropping things and you're loving what you're doing. You sort of going with the experience, but you don't know that someone's ever listening to your music and they deeply appreciate it.
Exactly, right.
So as an artist, so how long have you been really focusing on being an artist? Like when did you actually decide this is what I want to do? This is it.
bro, it's not that long, man.
Yeah?
Like only the last couple years. Like I first came into music just someone who enjoyed music, and then I was sort of like, all right, I enjoy music, so I may as well like do it and do it properly. Like if I'm gonna invest a lot of time into it, I may as well do it 100%.
Yeah.
So only the last couple years.
Damn.
And I think working through this project has been a big part of me like wanting to pursue it, because as I was working through it, I was learning a lot more, and then that was sort of encouraging me to keep doing it.
Yeah,
So,
most definitely. What do you think were some of the biggest learning curves for you?
there was a lot, bro.
Yeah. But cool.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
even
yeah.
just in terms of like actually making, in terms of like just making the music,
Yeah.
it was like, all right, there's gonna be times where you really hate that shit.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
just sort of gotta keep like pushing through
Churning
that,
and
and just and I think also it was more just like about mindsets for me, like in terms of like shit, what was I gonna say? In terms of just like the stuff I was saying before, just making it for no reason, like just making it for the sake of the product. Because if you make it for the sake of like, all right, this has to do this numbers, this has to get me in this place by this time, it just takes the enjoyment out of it. Or like if you're making it for some particular person to like it, it's just gonna take all the fun out of it. And also like just the fact that you're constantly just trying to get better. I think that's all your aim. Like that's all my aim is now. And I think that's been like a learning curve for me. Because if I was making it about some other shit, it was just pissing me off, and it was taking the fun out of it.
Yeah, definitely. And that's cool, man. Even like I feel like being an artist, it's also like it's sort of like being an athlete, playing a sport. Like the good athletes, they compete against themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're not looking around trying to see what the next person's doing, what the next person's team is doing. They're just competing about themselves, and every single day they're trying to get better.
That was a killer too, bro. If you're comparing yourself to whatever this person's doing, it's like it can really affect you, bro. So
but I see why people do it though. Like you look at your progress, and you're not getting, I guess, where you want to be at your own time. Like you're gonna get there eventually over time.
Well, you hope you're gonna get there.
Well, hopefully, you hope you're gonna get there over like a period of time. But for a lot of people, it takes them a bit longer, or they have to go through a couple of learning curves. Right. And then you see, for example, some of your peers, or you see some people who you've been following for a long period of time, and they get to a particular level before you do. And then you just feel jaded. Like you just feel not jaded. I wouldn't say jaded, but you just feel as if there's a sting in you where you want to be there as soon as possible. But it's a process. Exactly. Like you said, like it takes time to get there.
Yeah. And I'm still working on that, bro. Like you can't say I can't say I'm not. Like you see someone doing something, and I think it's just like you need to detach yourself from that. And like as soon as you see yourself thinking about someone else, you're taking your eyes off what you should actually be focusing on. Like if I'm focusing on them, I'm liking on what I should be doing, So,
exactly.
And I think also it's like a negative space to be in. We should be like wanting each other to do better and like propelling each other forward, because I mean there's no real competition. Like there's enough space for all of us.
For everyone, most definitely. That's true. But Sydney's been good with that. Like I always say, like a lot of artists, maybe it's out of like necessity. Like, artists really need to like be together like that. Maybe it's out of necessity, but it's really good to see. Like I always see like a lot of artists with with the same producers, or doing little shows together and stuff. So how was your show? I know you did a couple at the Bank Hotel. In Newtown.
The headline. Yeah. That was cool, man. It was like a Tuesday night, and we got some people out there, and they seemed to like the stuff. So I was happy with it, bro. Yeah.
I guess cool. is it a weird feeling like going for someone who loves music, someone who's starting to get into music, and then seeing like people come out to see you play?
Bro.
I would say that definitely. I was like, damn, that'd be such a big transition, isn't it?
Definitely, man. Like, and I've still only played, like I wouldn't have even played like double-digit shows yet, bro. Like I've only played a number of shows, but like. Yeah, it's definitely crazy, man. Like seeing people out there enjoying your stuff, like even like just singing along or something like that, it's wild. So, yeah.
But it's really good, man. Like I've seen your progression, like especially, I think you dropped a track earlier. Last time I spoke to you, Stanley introduced me to you. And then Stanley was actually the person who showed me a couple of your tracks. And this was literally like in the period of, I think I hit you up maybe like 2 months ago. Yeah. So Stanley would have showed me one of your tracks about 3 months ago. And then I think you had a couple of hits, singles at that time. Yeah. I was like, man, this brother intellectual. I was like, I appreciate it. I appreciate intellectual music, intellectual brothers, you know what I mean? So I was like, shit, all right. And then I think I hit you up, and then I think that was like 2 weeks later, you released, oh shit, I'm gonna release the EP. So I'm like, this is perfect timing, man. This is perfect timing. But yeah, man, like I really enjoyed your progress, and I really think that there's definitely a space for you in Sydney and like internationally, man.
Thank you. Man.
But yeah, so we're gonna end it here.
Yeah,
like, I really appreciate your time.
No,
but yeah, I really think it's a dope EP. Need everyone go out, get that. Appreciate that.
Lost in Translation's out now.
Yeah, I like that. Do a shout out.
Listen to that shit.
All right, easy. All right. That's
Thanks,
it.
bro.
Guys, appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Easy.